Hello, my name is Andy, and I am the village idiot, and I'm armed with a car and a GoPro, and an unhealthy amount of time on my hands. Alright, today in Newark and Sherwood, we are beginning this one, and ending later, on this very playing field to the south of a village which has south in its name. This is the lovely South Clifton. Here's my disclaimer for people who may be watching me for the first time. I say things as I would in my native accent and dialect. As a result, I may not pronounce things in the same way as the locals do. Remember, I'm a visitor. It's impossible to know everything. Leave me a comment, spin me a like, and bash that subscribe button. Let's get to today's parish video. South Clifton is a village and civil parish about 10.5 miles north of Newark on Trent in the Newark and Sherwood district of Nottinghamshire. In 2011, the parish had a population of 326. South Clifton is a small, rural village which can be reached from the Newark to Gainsborough Road, where it nestles between the A1133 and the River Trent. The parish touches Thorney, Girton, Wigsley, Spalford and North Clifton, all within Newark and Sherwood, and it shares a river border with Bassetlaw and the parishes of Fledborough, Marnham and Normanton-on-Trent. South Clifton is located in an exceptionally appealing area of Nottinghamshire. With 8 listed properties and being surrounded by fields, South Clifton is designated as a conservation village. To the south is Clay Hill and a privately owned pond. On Clay Hill is a trigonometry point. The village is also on the Trent Valley Way walking route and has access to the Boston to Fledborough cycle route 647, part of the national cycle network maintained locally by the Sustrans charity. The village has a regular publication called the Clifton and Spalford newsletter, free to all households in North Clifton, South Clifton and Spalford. It's a quarterly issue which is a mixture of adverts for local businesses and news of previous and upcoming events, and it also includes regular articles written by villagers. Should just mention that the house you saw in that last shot, this one here with the building ties, is the old Red Lion pub. The village history goes back to at least 1300, and it's known that King Edward I and his wife Eleanor of Castile crossed the River Trent at what was then the local river crossing. More of the history of the village is revealed in the various house names that still exist. The old saddlery, the old bakery, the manor house and the old sugar store are just a few of these. Much like last week in neighbouring North Clifton, the name Clifton means exactly the same thing, cliff farm or settlement. As mentioned in North Clifton, both North and South Clifton were recorded in the Domesday Book as Cliftone, Cliftune and Cliston. Where they differ would be the River Trent. The Trent at one time undoubtedly covered a considerable part of South Clifton. There was a ferry at South Clifton which had been used from time immemorial, most likely during the whole of the Saxon period. It was across there that Edward I and Queen Eleanor came in November 1290 from Marnham to Harby. We'll be talking about Queen Eleanor more in the Harby episode. The villagers used to be free of the ferry, and the ferryman and his dog used to claim a dinner every Christmas day at the vicarage. The ferryman also received from the inhabitants of the village a loaf of bread. South Clifton was formerly a township in the parish of North Clifton, and it became a separate parish in 1866. On the 25th of March 1885, an area of Marnham parish on this side of the River Trent was transferred to South Clifton. Like North Clifton, South Clifton is located on the floodplain of the River Trent, but this village has not seen floods for over 70 years. A significant inundation in 1947 was the last flood which affected the area. Following this, in the 1950s, a series of flood banks were constructed to help prevent a repeat. The banks are made from compacted clay topped with soil. Damage to the flood banks is a criminal offence. Despite record rainfall levels in 2000, 2007, 2012 and 2019, the village has seen no flooding from the river. South Clifton's demographic looks like this. It's a parish that's made up of 97.5% white British citizens. It has a population density of exactly 59, and the number of residents here has stayed fairly consistent over the last 10 years. Over 58% of the population is of working age, and there aren't very many children living here. Those that do attend the primary school that's shared between both the Clifton villages. Housing-wise, it hasn't really had many new builds of late either. The village core has been much unchanged over recent decades. South Clifton's average house price, according to data from the last 12 months, stands at £330,000. You get no prizes for guessing what South Clifton's bus service is. It's exactly the same as the one in North Clifton, the 367, along with the school bus to Tuxford. Next we come to the South Clifton and District Sports Association Sports Pavilion and Playing Field that includes a children's play area as well as junior and senior football pitches. The pavilion also includes the Red Lion Bar, a community-run bar at the Sports Pavilion which opens regularly once a week. You might have clocked from the name, it's in homage to the former pub. Here's the small play area, the only one in fact located within either of the two Clifton villages. The Coronation Hall is South Clifton's village hall and is available to be booked for regular events as well as special occasions and parties. A good size, it can seat 100 people and has a fully equipped kitchen and separate bar area. There may be no post office, but there is a standalone postbox. We're seeing many of these on our travels, aren't we? They're almost becoming a channel favourite. Here we have a recycling point. Many of the villagers express an interest in reducing the amount of plastic they use. In response to this, the village now has a refill station in the Red Lion Bar. So one thing I learned fairly quickly about South Clifton is it doesn't have many amenities. Of course, it has the playing field, it has the Coronation Hall, and it's served by a bus. But the pub is now gone, there's no shop, so it doesn't really have a lot. But at least it's nice and peaceful. It's always got that going for it. In the late 1800s, the Newark Advertiser noted that South Clifton contained a commodious, modern and ornamental chapel, which is well supported. This is that chapel. Of course, this is now no longer used as one, and the Clifton villages share the use of St George the Martyr's Parish Church between the two. Under a tree on the small village green, you'll find a memorial to Dusty Hare, a South Clifton local who, as the plaque says, broke the world record for points in rugby union. Now here you might be able to see two stretches of water. Just there, that is the current River Trent, but look down here. There's also a small slither of water just there. That is the old River Trent. The course has changed over time and now it flows over here. So now we're on Clay Hill and we're overlooking the River Trent, both the current course of the river and the old one. The Trent has two flood banks named the Minor Defence and the Major Defence. The Minor Defence runs along the side of the actual river where low ground necessitated its construction. The Major Defence has been built in between areas of high ground some way back from the river. And the course of the old River Trent is something I'm going to show you with the aid of Google Maps in today's picture bit, and that's coming right now. And there you have it, that is the second of the Clifton twins, the beautiful South Clifton, which looks fantastic, doesn't it, in the sunshine. Brilliant village and a lovely little circular walk. There you go, that's the two Cliftons here in Newark and Sherwood. Time for me to move on to my next one, which is a lot smaller. It's very interesting though, and you'll see why when we get there. This has been the parish of South Clifton, and I've been Andy, also known as the Village Idiot, and I'm out.